This man tried to kill his wife while skydiving. She fell 4,000 feet without a parachute and survived, only to wake up and be told that her accident was planned. Hi, I'm Meg. I talk about true crime. Let's get into this case. It's so good to be back. Our story today starts with a guy called Emil Cilliers, I think is how you say his name. He was born in South Africa in the 1980s and ended up moving to the UK in the early 2000s. He met his first wife, got married, had 2 kids, and then they got a divorce. In the winter of 2009, he meets a woman called Victoria. They met in a treatment center where she worked as a physio because he had badly injured his knee or something in like a skiing accident. They would soon start a relationship and get married in 2011. Victoria was head over heels for this man. He was everything she wanted and more. It was like perfect. Maybe too perfect.
And then suddenly this guy just almost came out of nowhere. It's a bit like a love bomb. He just promised me pretty much everything that I wanted. It just felt like the fairy tale. It felt like I was getting the happy ending.
Down the line, Emil's behavior started getting a little bit concerning. He would apparently sometimes just like disappear for long periods of time and then come back. Emil apparently didn't keep contact with his kids from his other marriage. So him and Victoria had 2 kids together as well. And his behavior was just really not good. He was accused of sending weird messages to a 16-year-old girl. And he was also in a crap ton of debt. And he was using Victoria's money to pay it off. He was claiming that his work was screwing up his wages or something. Then Victoria started seeing emails on the family computer for clubs, and I don't mean party clubs, I mean freaky clubs. He was getting down and dirty with other women. Well, she didn't know this for sure, but she had it in the back of her mind. But they do say love is blind, and all of these red flags she just didn't want to see because she just wanted her fairy tale ending. Now let me tell you what Emil was actually thinking. So he had a new girlfriend. She didn't know that him and Victoria were still together. And he was also in a crap ton of debt, like I said. So he thought to himself, if I am able to get my hands on Victoria's life insurance, I can pay off my debt and run away with my girlfriend. He thought yeah, solid plan. All I have to do is my wife. Before the actual skydiving incident, he had actually tried to kill Victoria and the 2 kids only days before. He tampered with the gas in his home and basically left the gas running through the house, which can be deadly. But luckily, Victoria actually was able to smell it and get everyone out. And that same day, she texted him jokingly, "Oh my God, are you trying to kill me? Haha." And he probably was on his phone yeah. Victoria was pretty sure that their marriage was falling apart. She didn't want to accept it, but she also wasn't happy. But then one day, Emil comes home and he's like, should we go skydiving together? Which was an activity that Victoria adored doing. So he wanted to go Easter weekend, and she was like, wow, he's finally this is really thoughtful. We'll go and do this activity together. He never wants to do any activities together. And to her, this was kind of a beacon of hope in their relationship. Little did she know what he had planned. Before the couple went skydiving, Emil tampered with Victoria's parachutes, ensuring that when she went to use them, they wouldn't work. Victoria wasn't having a good day. She was crying on the plane and just really, she was unhappy in her life, which fair. Look at the guy she's married to. He sucks. And so she said that once she jumped out of the plane, which obviously, like I said, this was an activity she loved, it was a moment of joy for her. She felt good, and she goes to pull her parachute, and number 1 doesn't open, which was fine. She knew that this is something that happens sometimes. She has the reserve one, right? You have 2. She pulls that one. Nothing happens. Can I just say, I know she was experienced, so that's why she didn't freak out. But even if I pulled the first parachute knowing I had a second one and it didn't open, I think I would just pass out then and there, to be honest. But yeah, the second parachute doesn't open, and this is when she realizes, I've got myself a serious problem. She's 4,000 feet in the air, falling free falling. Luckily, because she had done it so many times and she was trained, she was focused less so on, I'm gonna die, because she thought to herself, I have children to take care of. Like, I cannot, it's not an option. So she was focusing on slowing her body down in the air to make the impact the least damaging that she could make it. She started spinning in the air at ridiculous speeds, and by the time she actually hit the ground, she was going 60 miles per hour. As you can imagine, yes, she did survive, but there was a lot of injuries there. When she hit the ground, she broke her back, her pelvis, ribs. She also had some internal injuries. I genuinely cannot imagine like hurling towards the ground 60 miles per hour and wondering like, when I hit the ground, is that it? Am I gonna die, or am I gonna sit there and suffer and then die? I can't imagine the fear that she was feeling and the pain she must have felt when she hit the ground. But she was alive. And her crappy husband's plan didn't work. This was immediately investigated, and it didn't take long for investigators to figure out that the parachute was indeed tampered with. But they had to figure out the why, the who, the where, the when. And for years, Victoria was in the dark about this. Like, she didn't really want to believe that her husband would ever do this to her. Like, yeah, her marriage wasn't perfect, but, like, there's a difference between your marriage not being perfect and believing that your husband would do that to you. The police asked Victoria if there was anything kind of, like, suspicious that happened around the same time. So this is when she told them about the gas incident, but she didn't think that that was him, necessarily. I can see why she was, like, in denial that it could be him, because, like, you don't want to believe that the man you married and love would do that to you. And mind you, you know all the things that he was doing, really. But she didn't know a lot of these things. She was in the dark. The police investigation basically led them to find out that Emil had taken the parachute and tampered with it in the bathrooms right before their dive. It's not called a dive, is it? Like, before their jump out of the plane. They also discovered that the gas valve in the home had been indeed tampered with. Then they found out about his affair and his debt and his freaky clubs. And he had no leg to stand on, really. Like, they had him. Really luckily, Victoria actually recovered really well. She could have been paralyzed from this incident, and she's not. She's actually doing well now. Emil was sentenced with life in prison with a minimum of 18 years. I just think they should keep him in there. Like, he doesn't need to come out. From what I've read on Victoria, she is remarried now, I think. Hopefully this is a man of her dreams and she's getting treated like a princess, because she deserves it after this. 3 years after the accident, in October of 2018, she did something so brave. She decided to skydive again. I think this is so brave, because not only did her husband try and kill her, he also tried to kill her with something that she loved doing, which is horrible. And so she took her life back and she jumped out that plane, and her kids were waiting for her on the ground when she landed, cheering her on. And that is that story. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I really hope Victoria is living her best life today. And let me know what case you want to see next. Can I just say how nice it is to be back filming these true crime videos? I have missed you all, and I'm going to try to be more consistent. I've got loads of videos already scripted. Got some super fun Halloween ones coming up. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!